Right,
Yeah.
sure. Where's my Zoom? Make it okay. Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Sania Hussain, adjunct faculty at the School of Education, and we have with us our wonderful students. So welcome everyone, the ones who have joined us. Let me introduce you to the three wonderful students, the batch of 2023. Shirin Fayaz, hi. Aisha Noor and Anusha Atik. So girls, welcome to this. It's really nice seeing you now that you've completed the thing and you're working in your individual fields. It makes us feel really proud, and I'm sure it would make you guys feel proud as well. So since you've got the students here, some alumni and some who are currently enrolled on the program, so we'd like them to benefit from your insightful input you would like to give about the program and about what you're doing currently. So I would you the question, and then one by one I'd like you to answer it. I don't want to introduce you. I'd rather that you do that yourself. So currently what you're doing right now, and is that what you had actually imagined at the beginning of your careers, or when you started thinking of a career, is that what you wanted to do, or is it far from it? And little about where you see yourself a few years from now. So can we begin with Shirin? Shirin, can you introduce yourself and let us know about your
Yes.
insights?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be back without any deadlines coming up ahead. So it's nice to be back in a relaxed manner. And thank you for joining all our juniors. I'm sure you're having a really tough month, and I'm sure आधे PDC में बैठे हुए कहीं बैठे हुए कोई कहीं तो सुन रहा है, but it's nice to have you guys here. At the moment, I'm working as a lead facilitator at Leo's Workshop. It's a project by Beacon House, and it's a project-based learning school. So it is exactly where I did want. Like, I really wanted to work in a project-based system, and I'm really enjoying myself right now. I feel like they're already using all the research, जो हमारी research based strategies हैं, we use them in the classrooms. The team is amazing to work with. A lot of them are MPhil graduates as well from SOE. So it's really like I really enjoy working with them because we're working inside the classroom, outside the classroom. So yes, it's I think very intellectually engaging as well for me. My job right now.
Shirin, how do you relate it to what you really wanted to do?
So I actually have a background in law. So I actually switched my career to education because I had this, I don't know, passion for inclusion in schools. And I realized Pakistan mein there is not much for, on inclusive education. There's still a lot of work to be done, and schools are way behind when it comes to any learning difficulties or including children with learning difficulties. So it started out there, the journey. But as I think with Sara develop hua or SOE mein, I think I did evolve. My inclusion se start hua, but then I realized, okay, if I do want to work on inclusion, then I have to get into the system. And project-based learning is a great system to enter into because the pedagogy itself promotes inclusion. And so I feel like I'm able to implement the different research strategies जो हमने खुद भी पढ़ी और मैंने खुद भी research की. So in that way, yes, it connects very well. It may not be exactly what I thought, but that's what I love about this program. I think you really evolve through it.
Shirin, just a little more about the fact that you made 180-degree turn. Actually, you shifted from law to education. So just because there are many other students who, who've changed their fields and disciplines, how difficult was it for you? Or how easy, either way?
I'll be very honest. I felt like I came home. I mean, before that, I didn't feel like I was doing something. Um, I don't know. I felt out of place in that profession, in that degree. But as soon as I realized where my passion was, and I started pursuing it, it just came very naturally. It was very scary because I did have a gap in my education as well, from my legal education to this degree, was because I have two kids as well. So, I was a stay-at-home mom as well for a while. So I was very nervous. I was wondering कि पता नहीं कैसे होगा, but I still remember Dr. Bari telling us at the orientation. He's like, I told him, look, I'm coming back after 10 years. I don't know. Imposter syndrome was like at, at the ultimate high. I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, that is not going to be a problem at all. Please, don't even like, he just like brushed it off. And I agree with him that wo bade aaram se, I made the transition. And I must say that I was also lucky to have really, really good peers. I think peer learning was amazing at SOE. सारी चीजें जो भी, I mean, I feel professionalism से लेकर content, you name it, presentation skills, I'll say that I learned a lot from my peers, and that's a great experience to have.
Right. सुन लो बाकी सारे, it's not that difficult. लगता है, but लगे रहो and
Intense बहुत है,
build a
I won't
smile.
deny.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself a few years from now, Shirin? What
So
are your
at the moment,
aspirations?
I really want to get the classroom experience, and I really want to put this out there because I realized जो MPhil कर लेता है, yes, of course, people have different interests and passions, but don't ever let that stop you from entering the classroom, because I've seen that there's this common misconception कि अब तो classroom में तो कोई भी जा सकता है, हमने तो MPhil किया हुआ है. But the experience is so like when you've done your MPhil and you enter the classroom, I think it's very important to have that experience, because policies to banti rahengi, ab implementers are the ones that are, need help. So for me, my goal is ke acha, I get this classroom experience, experiment with the strategies that we've learned about, and I do keep researching, and inclusion is also main focus for me. And then eventually, that is when I would like to go into teacher training as well. And I feel that I cannot go to teacher training unless I know, I like, kya kehte, talk the talk, talk the talk, or
Walk
walk
the
the
talk,
walk.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
thing is, that's a very good point that you've picked up, Shirin, and that classroom practice, that because you've got to relate theory and practice, and this is for the rest of you as well. So yes, policy is one thing, and then the implementation is one thing, and the implementation, actual education takes place in the classroom. So that's a very valid
Yes.
point that Shirin has picked up. Thank you very much for that, Shirin. Now I'm going to
Thank
move
you.
on to Aisha. Thank you, Shirin. Aisha, the same questions, what you're doing right now, and is that where you wanted to be when you started your career, or anything else? And then where do you see yourself a few years down the line?
Okay, hello, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So I was basically I did my bachelor's in social development and policy from Habib University in Karachi. मुझे बस जब मैं हबीब में आई थी, I just wanted to do something different. मुझे बस ये था कि मुझे एक चेन ब्रेक करनी है अपनी फैमिली वाली, सब डॉक्टर हैं या इंजीनियर हैं, बस उस टाइम ये था कि कुछ अलग करना है. एंड हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी मिराक्युलसली उसी टाइम, when I completed my inter and they were there and I joined and it was great. And I got a lot of knowledge. मैं एंथ्रो के कोर्सेज पढ़ रही हूँ, पॉलिसी के कोर्सेज पढ़ रही हूँ, प्रोग्राम मैनेजमेंट के कोर्सेज पढ़ रही हूँ, but then it was all too much, like you know, थोड़ा थोड़ा बहुत था. When I graduated, it was great, but मुझे I just needed कि मैं किसी चीज में specialize कर सकूं, एक extension मिल जाए मुझे in Pakistan. That was my main goal, and it was SOE held a session at Habib University, and I was in that session और मैंने पूरा सुना, and वो कहीं ना कहीं it stayed with me. COVID happened, I was working, but then it stayed with me. I applied to SOE इसी थॉट से कि बस मुझे थोड़ा एंथ्रो का भी पढ़ना है, थोड़ा कल्चर ऑफ एजुकेशन समझना है. आई वांट लाइक जिसमें मैं टेक्नोलॉजी भी देख सकूं. आई वांटेड उसी तरह का मिक्स, बट लाइक इन अ वेरी organized manner. And I thought SOE, School of Education का ये program was that place for me. When I joined, I only knew कि मुझे okay, when I met my peers, everybody, like Shiri said, some of them had classroom experiences and I did not have any. So SOE also had these observing schools. Maybe we went to schools, school effectiveness and development, maybe we had field work. So it offered me a lot of that. And then for Dr. Razia ke courses I took, Dr. Yasra ke saath I did my practicum. I'm getting that anthro wala part Dr. Razia ke courses se. I'm getting the tech wala part with Dr. Yasra. So my experience was it कि मुझे वो सब कुछ that I wanted. उस वक्त तो बहुत ज़्यादा when I joined SOE, my interests were like कि tech में भी करना है, ed tech में भी कुछ करना है, and then career counseling भी करना है. And I was able to do all of this because I did my practicum with Oxford University Press. हमने उनके edtech project पे काम किया था. Then I was also in my last year, I was also working remotely with a UAE-based edtech company while doing my MPhil. So, anybody who's listening and who's thinking they also want to manage their finances. So, ये भी एक बात है कि I was able to do it. And then, abhi currently, right now, I am working with a UK startup. It's a very small startup in Pakistan, but they're very big in the UK and in India. So what we do is that it's also, I mean, I'm getting this opportunity to introduce the kind of work that I'm doing. It's a little bit unique. So we have these UK universities as our clients, and we're working with their admissions team so that we can facilitate counselors and students with scholarships and other concerns that they have. So I'm working very closely with some admission departments in the UK, and then we're working towards making bringing more scholarships, going to different schools, talking to students, and making sure that things are being implemented there, because obviously right now currently so many students in Pakistan, they want to pursue their bachelor's abroad considering the economic conditions that we have here. So yes, and I think the program really helped me being there. I just only knew that I want to do something in higher education, and here I am every day meeting these amazing students, these amazing counselors, and like being like a bridge between them.
Thank you, Aisha. So that means it's a very holistic experience that you managed to put together and develop your skills accordingly. So what about the future? Next few years, where do you see yourself?
In the future, I also am thinking about, pursuing further studies. So currently,
everybody hear this. She still wants to study more, which is great.
So currently, I think like Shireen said, even after doing an MPhil, it's very important to, whatever you've learned, you practice it and polish yourself. So I think right now in this space and time, I'm just strengthening my skills. Whatever I've learned at SOE, I'm trying to implement them at the classroom level, talking to the students and talking to the admissions team. And currently I think I'm just polishing my skills. But yes, in the future, obviously, I do see myself like, directly like right now I am here working in Pakistan and like as a project officer, but I do want to become like a dedicated staff at the university and do more with what I'm doing right now.
Aisha, very insightful. And now it's turn to come to Anusha Ateek. So Anusha is now working at LUMS. That's about all that I'm going to tell about her. And she is going to answer these 3 questions. So Anusha, I hope you've got them. What you're doing right now, and how do you relate it to what you really wanted to do initially before you started this program? Or when you started thinking of having a career, and then where do you see yourself from here? From here.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Fania, and I can see some familiar faces here also. So, assalamu alaikum to everyone. Really nice to see familiar names. Sorry, mujhe shaklein to nahi nazar aa rahi, but also really kind of excited to have Shiri and Aisha with me also, because Shiri was with me as a practicum group member, and I'm really glad that I had her with me. And Aisha is like, an incredible friend. So dono, jab Shiri ne peer-to-peer interaction ka kaha, both of them I think has also a great sort of role to play in my journey. But Ms. Tanya, getting on to the point straight away. So again, like Aisha and Shiri, I did my undergraduate in accounting and finance, and I pivoted into the education sector. So I worked in the education sector for like 2 odd years, and then I kind of pivoted back. मेरी जर्नी लम्स में ही है. लम्स से मैंने अंडरग्रेजुएट किया, मास्टर्स लम्स से किया, अब काम भी इधर कर रही हूँ. So it's like a journey, but
क्या कर रही हो?
Yeah, bilkul. So abhi I am basically, I'm the faculty development lead at the LUMS Learning Institute, which is a fancy way of saying that I support faculty in their teaching and learning endeavors. I help them with their professional development. So LUMS ki faculty ka, there's teacher training. So in a way, it's like faculty development trainings, right? Training us lihaz se where there are different kind of workshops that we conduct. So there's faculty certificate in teaching and learning that faculty kind of goes through. For example, usme teaching skills aa jate hain, course design kaise karna, etc. So I essentially, design as well as lead those trainings and conduct them. Uske alawa, we also have this for, let's say, the PhD students. So it's for the faculty as well as the PhD students, because the idea is that a lot of PhD students at LUMS, they end up doing, let's say, becoming a higher education professor. So it's like a training for them also to equip them with the skill set for teaching. Uske alawa, there's also, let's say, development mein aur kya hai. So there's faculty who also has these consultation sessions with me, and sometimes they want to, let's say, improve their teaching or get feedback on it. And so I essentially, recently we had like cases of 3 faculty members who wanted to get formal observations and feedback, for example, from the LLI for their promotion and tenure. So I essentially kind of went there as, as an observation, kind of class observation expert. And when I think about my time at SOE and while I, hamari observing schools tha, but those same similar observation skill sets that I used to observe those schools, I'm using that particular skill set that I acquired in the higher ed space. So while I am working at the higher education space, there were many like transferable skills that I'm using right now. It's very interesting. I get to meet different faculty from different walks of life. I get to learn from them also. So it's quite an exciting experience. And if you were to ask me what I wanted to do earlier, so I feel like during my time at SOE, again, I used that as a time to really discover myself, because I had multiple passions, right, in education. There's curriculum development, there's teacher training, and I'm like, Anusha, okay, so like, where is your niche? And I felt like, in a way, I kind of, during my time at SOE, I realized that, okay, so I took school improvement and effectiveness. We could also kind of do different RA-ships in different, so there's Profed. I've done an RA-ship with them also, got to know about, I was able to design and conduct teacher trainings also. So I realized during my time in the program that, okay, so human capital development in a nutshell, be it teacher training or curriculum design, it all adds on to human capital development. So that is something that really drives me, be it in the K-12 space or higher ed space. And so while I had that teacher training experience with the low-cost schools, I kind of, this particular job that I'm doing right now is, the audience is a little different, but it's similar kind of skill set of human capital development, of training and development. So I feel like that is something that I've realized, and I have this conversation with my friends that if Anusha were a job description, this would be it, because I get to design, conduct trainings, I get to consult with faculty members, give them consultation sessions. And so, yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Anusha. Now, taking on from what Anusha has just said, and I'm going to include you two, Shireen and Aisha, in this. Anusha just mentioned that she got to discover herself or to find her niche, and in particular through this MPhil program. And since all three of you are from different, working in different fields and backgrounds, Aisha, you're working with a UK-based company. Shireen, you're working with Beacon House, and Anusha, you're back at LUMS. So how do you think this MPhil has helped you get to where you are right now? And how do you think it's going to take you further? What kind of role does this MPhil have to play in this? So Anusha has very nicely explained this, and you can extend on it later on. So Shireen, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure. So I think SOE and just this MPhil itself has played a big role in where I am today, because I was changing my careers. And, I think it gave me that perfect catalyst. Jo tha, all our classes, especially our electives, were amazing. I took ethnography, and Dr. Lona's educator seminar series was excellent. So which I do use in my classroom as well, and just overall in the school. I think it's played a big role, and especially the research जो हमारे skills develop हुए थे during the MPhil. I think those are like very, very valuable, in this education sector especially. And like I said, I do want to keep working for inclusion. So as a teacher, when I am facilitating a class, I am also researching as to what strategies can be used to, implement different needs in the classroom, because you can only get to the training side or the policy side, according to me, and until you have actually implemented and tried and tested everything. So us tarah se, I think it's played a big role. The networking is amazing, I must say. We have a very strong network, and I don't think we should ever discount that. I know that I can reach out to any of, Anusha, Aisha, anytime, and the other peers as well. If we need anything, we can collaborate, and I have collaborated, in fact, with somebody from the executive MPhil as well. So that way, yes, I think it has played a big role in at least my career and its evolution.
Aisha, what about you?
So I would like to add, few months back, I was also working on that EdTech project that we were doing. We were using AI to revolutionize recruitment in the UAE. And then I was also joined this company because, it's 2023, you need to have, 3-4 skills, and it's okay to, to work on multiple projects, because हमारे professors भी तो, they have so much on their plate and they're doing so much. So, I mean, if it was only because of, the help that the support that I was getting from SOE, that I was also able to, work on a job while studying, getting the same support, everything, from my advisors, from my peers, from the admission student support office hai, Sara in Machilka. It was only because of this support that I was able to continue to follow 2 of my passions at the same time. Obviously, then I moved cities, and then I had to leave, one job away, but I'm still very much connected with Dr. Yasra. And the other day I was telling her about the work that I was doing. So I think, Anusha said, like Shireen said, everything that, the way this
Is there a bit of a hang here?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think
cool
we
effect.
can move to, yeah,
So we'll wait for Aisha to join back in.
yeah.
Anusha, would you like to extend on that? You already have, but anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think I'll link it back to what Shiri and Aisha had already mentioned, that I think the kind of electives also that we took, for example, the pedagogy course by Dr. Lorna, a lot of those things that we learned, for example, the different models for learning, the ICE model, etc., I can now implement that over here. Educational theories that we got to learn, we got to kind of see that on ground being implemented. So I believe that, and also the support system in terms of the networking opportunities, like Shiri said, the fact that we can reach out to anybody at any time, I feel like that is also really helpful. But also, I feel like what really helped me, where I feel like this, if someone were to ask me what skill set really helped you, was that that connection between practice and theory. I feel like that really helped me, because that continuous kind of, we were doing theories, but we were also getting to implement that during our courses. So school effectiveness and improvement, I really personally enjoyed that course, and I got to learn that theory and also implement that through my project. So I feel like that is something that I still apply on the job, because when we're, let's say, designing trainings, or let's say when we're designing curriculum or giving consultations to faculty, we get to kind of also research, before we actually implement that. So that research based, or that, I really enjoyed the fact that I also got to discover that I'm a consumer of research. So I enjoy kind of informing my practice through research. So that importance I got through the program. So yeah.
All right.
And me and Anusha did that project together.
Yeah. I got to see it
I
as
love
well. Yeah, I remember. So, okay, this brings us to a very important point, which as a teacher of academic writing, and of course academic reading is a part of it, and students, the ones आप लोग जो सारे सुन रहे हैं इधर, hello, they're struggling with the reading, and they find it a little challenging and a little overwhelming. So I understand that कि वो ज़्यादा लगता है उनको, but then you need to probably talk about the importance of that research and that extensive reading that you get to do around your topics or the things that you are researching or finding out. And so I'd like you to talk a little bit about the importance of that research. How has that helped you in your professional development? Now, I'm not going to talk about your MPhil degree only. I'm going to talk about your professional development that you are currently, I'm sure, continuing to pursue. Anyone, feel free to.
I can start if that's okay.
PG, please, Shirin.
So, like I said, when I was re-entering into the education world after I think a decade or so, I'll tell you how important these readings were for me, because initially when Dr. Tayyeba in Dr. Tayyeba's class, she used to give many readings और बहुत लंबी होती थी. It used to take me like really a good while to read those, and I used to wonder, okay, is there something wrong with me? मुझसे क्यों नहीं पढ़ा जा रहा? And I used to ask Dr. Sophia, she was our research methods teacher then, that I feel like it takes me twice as long as anyone else. And she said, you know what, that's fine, everybody is at a different stage. Some people are just coming directly from their bachelors, तो उनको आदत है, तुम्हें नहीं है, तुम्हें time लगेगा. But I can tell you this much, that after the first semester, those readings became faster and quicker, and the comprehension skills came back. And I remember Dr. Razia, because I was her TA as well in arts and education, and she told the students that this is called neuroplasty, that don't run away from the reading because it's hard, just keep at it even though it's slow. You'll see, like, the magic happens in your brain. And I still have all the readings. I have folders, and I do refer back to them abhi tak. In fact, I feel like they're even more useful now, because at that time we're like constantly meeting deadlines, and sometimes it's hard to get all the reading done. But the readings that were assigned to us were very, like, I think they were amazing. And I still refer to them, and I still have them, and I know I can go back and look things up.
Help with your professionalism?
Yes, it does, for sure, because like I said, our strategies in the classroom are also research informed, so it really helps in going back to those readings.
Thank you, Shirin. Aisha and Anusha, would you like to add to that?
So I'd like to, if that's, I'll add on. I think again, I'd echo what Shiri said, and I'd like to add on that these readings and just that importance of doing research, because my the people that I give consultations to or design trainings for or have conversations for that matter are faculty, and they're PhDs, they're doctors. And so when you're talking about those negotiation strategies where you get to kind of have these conversations with faculty that, hey, you can try this particular strategy in your classroom, you have to back that up by research. You know, we can't just, so for faculty, that kind of any evidence or any kind of strategy that you're, let's say, proposing, research helps me. So I'm researching all the time that, okay, so, you know, I'm proposing this strategy, for example, a brain break, for example, because research says it's backed by research. And this is how because at this stage in my career, I'm an early professional career, and although I do have like a master's, for example, but sometimes when you're talking to, let's say, a PhD doctor, a faculty member with years of experience, and when we're talking about, you know, negotiating with them and just discussing certain strategies or, you know, anything, it helps with that. It adds on credibility to what I'm saying. Why? Because while Anusha may not have years of experience, you know, she's done her research and she's like, you know, this is, you know, implementable, or this is something that research suggests, for example. So I feel like that is how research has helped me a lot, just doing research and like developing that skill set throughout the program. And it is definitely a skill set that is developed, like Shirin said. I also had a business background in my undergraduate, so we're not used to, business folks aren't used to reading like, you know, theoretical literature. So I feel like after a semester or so, you kind of get used to it. And the academic writing course that we also took, you know, like those strategies that we use of, let's say, skim reading or looking at the abstract, the intro, and then, you know, the conclusion to see whether that paper is even relevant for me to read further or not. So I think those strategies certainly helped me and is still helping me in my professional development and career.
Right. Aisha, I'd like you to give your input, and please relate it to, just add on the ongoing process of research. So if you could just talk a little about that, that it is an ongoing process. It doesn't end with your MPhil.
Definitely agreed. It's an ongoing. I still remember the debates we had on language, let's say with Dr. Tayyaba, and I still, you know, use them in whenever I'm working. I think the whole, you know, the rigorous process that we did of reading and writing, obviously, like you said, it never ends. At my workplace, I have to write a lot of reports, and like, you know, it's just comes to me naturally, you know, because इतना हम used to हो गए हैं कि reading करनी है and like, you know, contextualize करना है, notes बनाने हैं, so everything just, you know, now comes very easily to me. It's no more like a tension ke, oh, how am I going to, you know, do this report in like, let's say 2-3 hours, because the whole process, like when you start and when you have these debates and when you make notes and when you, like Shirin said, reread, if you have a very difficult reading, just read it, you know, twice or thrice. It will come to you. It will come to you. Have a discussion at the classroom. Don't shy away. I think that's one of the things that I, you know, explored at SOE, whether it was Dr. Gulab's class, Dr. Lona's class. They put a lot of emphasis. Dr. Razia, she had these amazing activities in which everybody spoke their mind. And I think, so if you're a student, you know, it is an ongoing process. And at SOE, things will get easier. Just, you know, don't shy away. If you don't understand, it's fine. Just speak up. Everything will be easy.
Thank you so much, Aisha. And Anusha and Shirin. Now, let's come to the crunch bit. What kind of advice would you like to give, or input you'd like to give to SOE for maybe further enhancing and developing this program, or anything that you, when you look back, you think about your time here and how things could have been done differently or added on to, and also some bit of advice to the students who are currently enrolled and might like to, you know, maybe some prospective students as well.
I would like to go first.
All right.
Yeah, so because I'm not from Lahore, I came for this program to Lahore for the very first time. So, you know, if there are any students, you know, who have any concerns regarding coming to LUMS and, you know, moving cities, so, you know, don't worry about it. And if you've made the decision of coming to SOE, make sure you're also like making use of the LUMS the campus resources that it provides you. SOE has an amazing, system. They keep organizing networking events. Just make sure to show up at these events, and just make sure to, form these connections and, explore Lahore, make friends, just don't limit yourself to, let's say, SOE. Also explore other places at LUMS. Like, you have this incredible opportunity to work on so many things, explore so many things. So just giving my experience, that I was coming from a different city, I met these amazing people at SOE. They all had different backgrounds. I learned so much from them, and then I made these amazing friendships. I also worked at SOE. I also, was doing a job. So, just don't, my advice, from my personal experience would be to, make use of all the facilities and resources that SOE is providing you, because they will keep sending you emails about events, about different SOE EDU talks that they do, the conferences that they hold, the networking opportunities in which educators from all over Lahore come. And even right now, when I'm going to different school visits, meeting a lot of people, I have met them already in all these networking events. It just makes things so much easier in the future when you're in the professional setup. So that's my personal advice, that SOE and LUMS provides a lot of resources. Just make sure that you're making use of these, especially if you're coming from a different city. LUMS also has great dorms. So I stayed at a hostel, and staying on campus, that's also an experience in its own. So just make use of all the support and all the resources that are being provided to you.
And don't forget, everyone, my lovelies, that your professors are also your resources and a part of your networking connections.
Yes.
So
yes.
Utilize them and exploit them. Right. Thank you. Anusha or Shireen, whoever would like to talk about this.
I'm just going to agree with Aisha. She actually spoke my mind. I know there are many deadlines and a lot of academic, there is academic pressure for sure. I mean, we cannot deny that. However, I do believe in stress management. Zarur kare, like do join activities outside of SOE. I had joined the volleyball team, and I remember I used to think, I don't know how am I going to fit this into all these deadlines. But somehow I've realized that you don't wait for the time to just appear for you. You just have to you have to force these in. And when you do, you'll see that aapka automatically jo hai na, your academics will also fall in line. They are not affected. And I used to make sure I go for all my volleyball practices. And actually I started to feel much better after that, because usse pehle I remember I used to have anxiety attacks and wondering, oh my god, are we going to make this deadline or not? So that's one thing I wanted to add to what Aisha also said. The second thing would be that many of you have probably started your practicum. And so I just want to talk about the practicum a little bit as a student. Yes, sometimes you can have a very smooth one and koi issues bhi nahi aayenge. But, it is very normal for, hurdles to show up. And sometimes things are just not working out your way. I just want to tell you that not to be disheartened. There's learning in even failures, like chote failures honge, but there's a lot of learning in that. And I think group dynamics is something that is difficult to navigate sometimes, and because we're assigned our group members, so that in itself is a big learning. However, I do also want to this is my advice, that in case there is a lot of stress in your group, or things are not working out, don't feel like you're alone, and do reach out timely. There are people at SOE. I feel like we did not reach out enough. when it came to that. And so, yes, and try to avoid the burnout, because it's very easy to burn out during the practicum. So, yeah,
Anusha,
over to
what
you,
would like to
Anusha.
say?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with Aisha and Shiri, and I genuinely would just like to carry on to what Shiri said. That firstly, I feel that it's extremely, I'll first give you the advice for the students and then like to the SOE program. So for the students, I'd say definitely do spend with something that I wish I would have done also during my time, was that do give yourself time, right? Have some kind of little activity, you know, away from, let's say, the academics, because sometimes like the practicum, particularly the second year, can get a little tough. So for that, do create that space to avoid, let's say, burnout, to kind of go to those, you know, the connections that you make at SOE or elsewhere otherwise are just very important. So सिर्फ पढ़ाई of course is important, but also do value your batchmates that turn into peers. Rehana यहाँ पे है, बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है. You know, she became a very close friend of mine. Aisha and Shiri also. So, you know, like all these close friendships that you make really help you even beyond after you graduate. So ये चीज जरूर याद रखें. While it's important, of course, academics are, but do keep yourself in mind. And as far as the, and of course, networking, step outside of your comfort zone. By that, what I mean is that आपका कोई elective है ना, sometimes you gravitate towards something that we feel familiar with. यार ये आसान होगा, कर लेते हैं. I recommend that do something, let's say कोई quant heavy course and you're not good at quant, do that, because this, you won't get this time again. Let's say अगर आपका ये master's है, you don't feel like you won't be pursuing another one later on, just because this is the only time you can actually explore yourself and discover yourself. So do that and network. I was somebody who used to shy away from networking. I never enjoyed that because I'm more like an introvert at heart. So I feel like that really helps, because after communication skills and just having that network, the ability to network with people and getting to learn from them, that really helps. You know, आप networking उस perspective से नहीं जाते कि I'm going to get something out of it. It's more like I'm going to build alliances or like friendship for that matter. And you never know, you know, it might kind of help you in your professional journey or otherwise, because it surely has for me. मैंने networking try करके देखा, it really helped. So that's from the student's perspective. From the SOE programming perspective, I believe, moving on from what Shiri said, sometimes what happens is in group work, chahe wo practicum ho, otherwise ho, there would be, you know, some would be free riders and some would be kind of doing all the work for them, etc. So for that, I believe some accountability mechanism, perhaps koi peer evaluation ho, or some kind of evaluation where it somehow, I feel, graded maybe, because I feel like student mindset, जब students are in this process, for them, if it's, unless उनका grade stake पे नहीं है, they may not take it as seriously. So I do believe some accountability mechanisms where we can get rid of that, you know, free riding of sorts. Because while I know that, yes, in the real world, in the workplace, ये सारा जो scenarios होते हैं, you learn how to deal with different kinds of people, but in the workplace, for example, accountability measures भी होते हैं. You know, you are held accountable, for example, if you don't meet certain KPIs, या अगर आप, if you're slacking a little, you know, your supervisor will be like, hey, you know, आप इसको, let's kind of have these conversations and move forward. So वो, I believe, practicum में, group environment में, because वो accountability metric नहीं है या mechanism नहीं है, I feel like some people do get away with free riding, and sometimes it can have like a negative impact. But then again, like Shiri said, this is also a learning experience in itself. But this is definitely an advice in terms of the programming that I'd like to give.
Thank you very much. That's quite insightful. Now, you've talked about your professional development, and as you're progressing, you're working towards this. But it's heartening to know that your time at SOE has helped you develop personally as well. From what you've shared as your experiences and your peer learning and your peer groups, and then managing sometimes a bit of conflict as well. And then that's part of professionalism. So as I've already said earlier, and I think you all agree, it's more of a holistic experience that has put together you as a person, as a professional, and then, of course, as a citizen of Pakistan. So good luck to all of you, and you really made us proud and done well. And now I'm going to ask anyone if they have any questions for our lovely alumni here? बड़े चुप के बैठे हुए तुम लोग सारे, just listening to ask. It's about time that you guys also asked something. Have they taken care of everything? They've been pretty eloquent. You have any questions for them? Or any comments or any anything that you'd like to talk about?
We got one comment. Somebody wanted to rant about the practicum. So I sent them a
okay.
heart.
All
Hello.
right. So practicum, all
Assalamualaikum.
right. Would you like to talk a little about that? What is Saba? Is that Saba?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
Sabah.
me.
Saba,
I
what's
have
your
a question.
question or your ranting? Huh?
So I'm excited to hear all of you. Thank you so much for sharing insights. So my question is, I do not have a background of education. I do not know what kind of skills I should learn. My educational background is science, biology, and all, and my professional background is marketing. So, but my passion and my goal is regarding education. So I want to go towards entrepreneurship, right? So I want to open my school in my village. I'm here to learn that strategy and policy for that. But I know कि finances matter करते हैं, और शायद मुझे भी एक अच्छी पोजीशन चाहिए ताकि मैं लोगों से सीख पाऊँ ना, किसी अच्छे स्कूल में, द काइंड ऑफ स्कूल आई वांट टू मेक, शायद मुझे वहाँ पे कुछ अच्छी पोजीशन चाहिए। तो अब क्योंकि मेरा वैसा कोई बैकग्राउंड नहीं है, पीछे से एजुकेशन में उतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, जैसे आयशा ने कहा कि उनका एडटेक का पहले से भी एक्सपीरियंस रह चुका है, तो मैं ऐसी कौन सी स्किल्स सीखूं अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस कोर्स, और मैं ऐसी कौन सी चीजें एक्सप्लोर करूं, ऑनलाइन एक्सप्लोर करूं उन स्किल्स को, लाइक आई हैव सीन सम हार्वर्ड स्कूल ऑफ एजुकेशन, so please tell me some skills I should learn to help me in my finances after this degree to get that position and to learn for my school also.
Okay, that's a very valid and a pertinent question. Just to clear the confusion, do you want the skills for your financial development, or do you want the skills for क्योंकि I don't think इनमें से किसी का finance का background है. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sabah, are you talking about the skills that you need to develop throughout this program so that as a professional you can develop further? Is that what you're asking?
Yes,
Okay,
that
great.
is what I am. Finances for myself, to make money for myself, a stable
All right,
income
so you
kind
develop
of.
yourself professional to become a
Yeah,
professional. Yeah, that's
जी, और वो
fine.
skills वो होनी चाहिए जो एज अ स्कूल लीडर भी मुझे हेल्प करें, और अगर कहीं किसी स्कूल में मैं उस पोजीशन पे जाती हूँ एज देयर एम्प्लॉय, तो उसमें भी वो हेल्प करे ना.
All right,
So yeah.
brilliant. So who's going to take up this, answer this question? I think all three of you are perfectly equipped to do that. Feel free to speak as you like.
Sabah, thank you for your question. I just wanted to understand, are you in the first year of your MPhil, first semester? Well, sorry, where are you right now? Are you in the practicum?
No, it's first semester. Yeah,
Acha,
it's our
first
third month.
semester.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think my peers can just chime in whenever. I think जो electives है ना वो बड़े जरूरी होते हैं. So by this stage, ये थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है first semester because you've just been thrown into a bombardment of information and everything. So don't be too hard on yourself in the first semester. Just go with the flow. However, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ना आपको थोड़ा outline पता चल जाएगा of what you want to do, what you're interested in. And I've always been a firm believer that if you follow your interest and your gut feeling, you are going to take shape as a person. So I remember, like you said, you're interested in entrepreneurship as well, and SOE में opportunities काफी ऐसे भी आती हैं, NICL के courses आते हैं. I also took one of their courses जो उनका entrepreneurship 101 है. So आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये सारे आपकी तरफ चीजें आती रहेंगी. Opportunities will be there. You just have to start following your interest. And then I think आपका जो रास्ता है ना, automatically it'll just start to pave towards your goal. And I know कि जरूरी नहीं, I don't know why we have this culture of just कि हमें पता होना चाहिए कि हमने क्या करना है at all times. Sometimes it's okay to be in a vague place where you don't know कि क्या करना है, but you know that's the perfect time to remain open to other things as well, because sometimes life surprises you. You think you want to do one thing and then something else shows up. So always follow your interest. आप अपने interest को pursue करें. Communication skills are important. आपका leadership course will also really help you with your leadership skills. And yeah, I think that's about it. That, I mean, you
And
can add on, Aisha and Anushe, if you
And
think
Sabha,
anything
like
else
you
is.
said, you have marketing ka somewhat experience or interest. Don't lose that. Keep that as well. आपको ed space में या SOE में या LUMS में बहुत सारी marketing की opportunities मिलेंगी. उसके साथ साथ भी you can network and keep learning from these professionals that keep coming to SOE. So don't lose that. That it's already a good thing that you have that one skill. Keep that and keep reading these op-eds by different educators. This is something that at beginners level you can start doing on your own. Like keep reading up on what's happening in Pakistan, Punjab ki education space, and then don't lose your skills, marketing skills. वो भी आपको आगे काम आएंगी.
Great. Nusha, would you like to say anything? I've read your comment already. Anyone who would like to say anything else, or shall we bring this to a close now?
So I would like to ask one certain thing that, so we know that like we are coming to an end of our degree as well, and you've been through this phase where you have a lot of uncertainties and you come across that time that where you have to look forward and you have to wind up everything that you're going through right now and bring it close to the LUMS overall adventure and the life that we had and move into the more professional things. So what do you suggest? What do you recommend? What is the one thing that you learned the hard way, or you would like to say it out to us? So that would help.
I love
Anusha,
this
you want to
question,
take that?
Javeria. I love this question, learned the hard way. I definitely say, Javeria, honestly, in hindsight, an advice that I would give myself a year ago is that um, it's all going to work out in the end. I know उस वक्त जब हम गुजर रहे होते हैं उस space में everything feels quite overwhelming. अब job की भी application है, अब practicum भी करना है. In my case, I felt like sometimes you tend to take things a little too seriously. For me, an advice that I'd like to give my previous younger self, a year younger, is that I mean it's okay. This too shall pass, and don't take yourself or everything around you too seriously. What's the worst that can happen right towards the end of this journey? I mean, you learn a thing or two about people and like how you kind of, about your own self also, right? So, ये चीज है कि overwhelming yes होता है. Of course, job applications आपकी साथ में आती हैं. There is this uncertainty. अच्छा, अब we're going to come back to the professional world, but there's also this. For me, this was more like a hope also to a new journey. अच्छा, I've done my MPhil. I now want to, let's say, apply all that I've learned. So just, I think, go with the flow. अगर मैं किसी को कहूँगी ना ये कि just go with the flow. जैसे हो रहा है, होता रहे and learn through the process. So yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Very interesting questions, wonderful, insightful input that you've given about your experiences at SOE and the work that you're doing right now. And all of you who've been listening patiently, thank you very much. We'll bring this to a close, and goodbye. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, Sanya. Thank you, Aisha, Anushe. Thank you, Shiri. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us
much
here.
for having us. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye, all of you.